Ask the Doctor by GPDQ. Expert medical advice for you, your family and your colleagues.
Hi, I am Lucas and I look after corporate healthcare at GPDQ.
Hello, I'm Katrina. I'm an NHS GP and also one of the clinical directors at GPDQ.
And today we are going to talk about antibody testing. We'll be covering how do you get antibodies, how long did they last, etc. And as usual, we would love to hear what you think. So please do comment below with any questions or thoughts around today's discussion. So, Dr. Katrina, great to see you again.
You too, Lucas.
Awesome. One of the first questions that we thought would be good to sort of start off with is what are antibodies and how do you get them?
Certainly. So antibodies are basically the body's way of fighting a disease. So we can get antibodies after having an illness such as COVID, the body will create the antibodies, or you can get antibodies after a vaccine. So those antibodies will help to prevent you from getting the illness in the future, and if you do get it, enable you to fight, your body to fight, so you won't suffer the disease to such a serious level.
Well, okay. And do we know how long antibodies last for?
So with reference to COVID in particular, no, we don't know how long they last for. I think we can be mildly certain that if you have had COVID, your antibodies will last for about 3 months at least. But we do know that people that have had COVID can get COVID again, and they can get it more than once. So we don't know exactly how long they last for, and it might vary from person to person. And that's also one of the questions with the vaccine. So how long do you get immunity for? How long do your antibodies last after you've had the vaccine?
Okay, and that may obviously be sort of answered a bit later, but why is antibody testing important post-lockdown? And do I need to do the self-test, the antigen test, the lateral flow test, however you would want to call it, and whatever name you know, as well as the antibody test?
So I think that whilst we're fighting COVID, the more tests that we have in our armory, the better. So the self-testing, the lateral flow testing, is a way of screening yourself to see if you have COVID, if you're asymptomatic. And about 1 in 3 people who have COVID are asymptomatic, so they wouldn't know that they have it. So that's a very important test in itself, because it helps to pick out that asymptomatic person. Antibody testing is very different to that. So the National Office of Statistics said recently that roughly 50% of the UK have antibodies to COVID. So that's either through a previous infection or that's through vaccination. Now, that's a fantastic figure. It means that a lot of us are protected against it, but we don't know exactly how long we're protected for. So on an individual basis, if you were unlucky enough to have had COVID, say you had it about 3-4 months ago, you might feel to some extent protected, that you won't get it again at this point. But it also might be a small question at the back of your mind, like, do I still have antibodies? Am I still protected? So it's just a good to know piece. It will give that extra reassurance, testing your antibodies a few months after you've had COVID to see if you still have them, to see if you're still protected. And equally the same for the vaccine, because we don't know how long the protection lasts for. So again, it's a good piece to know on an individual level, and I suppose on a business level as well, to know which employees have antibodies, and it helps to navigate a workforce and helps bring confidence in knowing who you're bringing back to the workforce when obviously things open, and who has antibodies.
That is so important, and particularly now that lockdown will be lifted, people will be effectively mixing with new groups, and so the risk of catching or spreading the virus increases in fact. So our message here is basically get tested to reduce the infection among your friends and colleagues. Dr. Katrina, thank you so much for your knowledge. It's obviously always super appreciated, and hopefully everyone will have their own takeaways from it. So thank you so much.
Thanks, Lucas.
And thank you all for listening. Tell your friends, and remember this week to put yourself and your health first.